Hello, Patty. How nice it is to see
Hi.
you again from enrichment.
I know it's been a couple months.
This is driving me crazy. My daughter left the front door open.
I'm getting feedback.
We're there.
Oops. Hello, Patty. How nice it is.
Hi.
This is driving me.
So there's sound, but there's no video. And now you're on mute.
How nice it is. Oh my gosh. I put mute on the other screen. Oh, hello? Does that
Hi.
does that sound better now?
Yeah, I can hear you and but there's no video on LinkedIn.
Oh,
So it
there's
looks like we're just on Zoom.
oh.
Yeah, we're still not on LinkedIn.
Oh, interesting. On the other screen, I see we are on there. I think we are. Okay.
Um, I'm not in the From Passion to Purpose.
Huh. Hold on. Let's see. No, I think we're on there. I see it on my LinkedIn feed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, huh, maybe if I go to your page.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, because I tried it from the video, the link here. Let me try this. Technical difficulties.
Okay.
First, bear with me, guys. Oh, I see my face.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll start over again right now. But hello, Patty. It's so nice to see you from enrichment. It's been a little while. I'm so glad we met, and I wanted to have this live where we can discuss, how we've both been kind of these employees in fields for 2 decades, I think both of us now, and how we
Yeah.
kind of found our purpose and our passion in financial coaching and how you got there. I know you have a lot to say about that and how I got there, but yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. So I'm Patti Bardeen, and like you said, I've been in real estate for actually 20 plus years. I think it's like 22, something like that. I started off in appraising, so I'm a real estate appraiser, and then probably about close to 10 years into appraising, I became a realtor as well. So I kind of do both things. And as I kind of went through everything, about probably about 6 years ago or so, I started kind of working the Ramsey plan, and I just had this tremendous understanding and passion for everything financial and the understanding of it. And I kind of, under the radar, started helping people as I was going through the financial journey myself. And I was kind of just helping people and unofficially coaching people until
Right.
I said, you know what, I'm going to take the coaching. And I completed the coaching back in April. My certificate is on the back wall over there. And I wanted to become official. And then I went to enrichment back in August, and that's where I met you. And I really found a passion for it. And what kind of set me on the journey itself was, I was exhausted from COVID, as everyone else was.
Hmm.
And I was just going through the motions of real estate, because being in real estate, you were considered essential because it's part of the financial markets during COVID. And I was just completely exhausted, just working day in, day out. And I just didn't know if I was exhausted from real estate or if that was really truly my passion. So I picked up the book From Paycheck to Purpose by Ken Coleman, and he kind of opened my eyes, honestly. I started reading this, and I found true meaning and true passion in my life. And it just kind of set me on this journey of exploration. And that's when I took the Get Clear Career Assessment, and I found my top three talents, what is what I, do best, the top three passions, what I love to do best, and also what my mission is. And when you put them all together, you find your purpose in life. And it's also kind of funny because they give you what your possible career paths are. If they
Yeah.
don't just spit out just one thing. You're only meant to do one thing in this world. It gives you a whole list of things that you're possibly meant to do. And one of the things is real estate. So I am actually fulfilling my passion and what I'm supposed to do. It's just that I'm exhausted from it. So other things were coaching,
Yeah.
instruction, education, mentoring, public speaking, and also coaching, financial coaching, things like that. And I said, you know what? That makes sense. So that's when I officially took the coaching course and things like that. So, I kind of owe it all to him, but also kind of blame him too, because once you find out what your passion is, it's hard to turn that fire off. So he really
Yes.
just set me on fire, and I just went phew and just took off from there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've never thought about this, but appraiser, I know realtor for sure is not a W-2 type of job. What about
Mhm.
appraising?
So I'm a staff appraiser, and I originally started off with my first company as a staff appraiser, and I was there for 15 years. And then I left that company to become another staff appraiser at another appraiser management company. So I am a W-2 employee, and then I'm self-employed as a realtor. So yeah, it's a very complicated tax return. I have
Oh,
great tax people in
interesting.
my corner. Yes.
Okay. How do you think, well, because you are self-employed as a realtor part, right?
Mhm.
What are the similarities or how has that set you up for being a financial coach?
Well, it's very similar because you get out of it what you put into it. So there's sales related, it's commission, it's being personable, it's being knowledge based about the product or what you're talking about. So being a realtor, it's talking about sales, about houses, the market. Being a financial coach, it's talking about, where they are, meeting them where they are, talking about their finances, talking about where they want to be, and going from there. And it's just having relationships and building relationships with people. And it's building a business as well. So you're offering yourself as the product and you're selling yourself as the product. So it's sales on that part. And of course, as much as you talk to people and you gain those clients, so then obviously you're going to earn more money, just like you do with the real estate sales. Now, as an appraiser, I'm a staff appraiser. So the work comes to me, I get the work, I produce, and I get paid for it. I'm still commission based on that. So I earn a percentage of the work that I do, but it all comes to me. I don't have to go get that work.
Oh, how interesting. How interesting.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it has kind of set you up. It's also, yeah, real estate business is very relational, right? You're building
Mm-hmm.
relationships and it's the long term and serving your clients and all that. What do you think has made you most interested in the personal finance and coaching people with their money?
Obviously, personal experience, struggling a lot, trying to find the right plan to get out of debt and just spending too much and living just like every normal American in this world. And
Yeah.
then listening to all of the try this, try that, get rich quick type of thing and having it not work. And then until I find the right plan, which is the Ramsey baby steps. But also, trying to quiet the noise that's out there, untangling the mess that is just very confusing because there's just so
Mhm.
many things that are going on in our lives. We're just very confused. We have too many things going on. We've got, kids and families and just all this stuff that we just can't focus so much, and we get so confused. So when you sit down and you just want to throw it away or you want to forget about it, and everyone's just like, oh well, I don't want to do a budget because I just check my bank account, and if there's money in there, great. If there isn't, I'll just grab a credit card or we'll deal with it next month or something like that. So when I sit down and I have to qualify clients to buy a house, I have to look at their finances too to make sure that they qualify to purchase a house. I
Mm,
have to make sure that down the line, if their taxes were to go up, so if they were to buy a house at a higher price and their taxes are lower, I have to make sure that in a year or two, when the tax rate goes up, that they can afford that house still. I don't want to put someone in a house for 1 year or 2 years. I want to put them in a house for longevity because you want them to own that house for a long time.
yeah.
So it kind of went hand in hand because I was building a financial picture for these clients, but I also had to make sure that my financial picture was organized as well So it
Yeah.
kind of, went hand in hand. And the more I learned about myself, the more I was better able to help others. And now when I choose to help my clients, I'm speaking from experience rather than just what I was, taught to do. And I
That's
can actually show them that this is what actually works. And then I can actually walk away from my clients if they're not doing something that, is good for them. If it's harmful to them,
mhm.
then I can actually walk away from them and let them know that I'm sorry, I'm just not the agent for them because I am debt free. I don't have to sell them a house in order to pay my car payment or that credit card bill that's due. I'm able to say, look, I've tried to help you. I don't feel comfortable because I know that this is going to be harmful to you. It should be a blessing and it's not going to
Oh,
be.
interesting.
So yeah, yeah. And I let them know that. And I have done that in the past. I've had to walk away from a few clients that just have not taken my advice.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I don't like to walk away because I don't like to give up, but
No, but yeah, you
you have to
diverge
set
the
boundaries
values,
too.
so yeah,
Hmm.
you don't want to help someone and you're really hurting them, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, that's really important. That it's a you touched on your debt-free journey. Tell us more about your journey of becoming debt-free.
Oh, it was exhausting. But it was exhausting because again, I've tried and tried and tried and failed many times. Being in real estate, just like Dave Ramsey says, you try to out earn your stupidity because it's
Yeah.
commission. The harder you work, the more money you can bring in. But also you get that commission check and you say, well, I've earned it. I'm going to go out and celebrate, and then you forget about all the other celebration you did on the credit cards, and as your paycheck goes up, you think that you should have this lifestyle that reflects X amount of dollars. But really, what does X amount of dollars look like? And it should look like peace. It should look like security. It shouldn't look like
Yeah.
stress and sleepless nights and fights with your husband and just constant stress and worry. So when I finally found Dave Ramsey, I said, okay, what is this? What are these baby steps? So I learned the 7 baby steps. Baby step 1 is save $1,000 in your emergency fund. Baby step 2 is to pay all of your non-mortgage debt, smallest to largest, using the debt snowball. Baby
Mhm.
step 3 is to save 3 to 6 months in your emergency fund. Baby step 4 is 15% of your household income into your retirement. Baby step 5 is to actually save for college, which a lot of people don't get a chance to do that for their kids. So their kids are set up to fail, unfortunately, because they don't prepare their kids. And then they have student loans, and the cycle starts over and over and over again. And then baby step 6 is to actually pay off your mortgage and not pay for 30 years and never actually get your house paid off. And then baby step 7 is to live and give and just be outrageously generous. And then you can continue to fund your retirement so that you don't have to wait on the government to take care of you. So when I saw that actual plan laid out so easily, I almost didn't do it because I said it can't be that easy because I've tried all this other stuff. There's no way. And then as I started to do it, I said, okay, I paid off this one. Great. I paid off this one. Great. This is awesome. This is going. This is working. Okay, but how long can I sustain this?
Yeah.
And then as I kept going and kept going and kept going, it just kept working and things were getting paid off. The hardest one was to convince my husband and my daughter to sell the brand new giant toy hauler that we had, which was just way too big and way too expensive and ridiculous for the 3 of us to show up. We got a lot of oohs and ahs,
Yeah.
which kind of was probably the reason why we got it. But it was completely unnecessary. We weren't going to be using it as much, but we were stupid. We bought it and we shouldn't have. But we sold it right at the height of COVID when everyone was camping because no one could really go on vacation and fly anywhere. So it was the perfect time to sell it. We got out of it. We lost a little bit of money, but we didn't have to pay too big of a stupid tax. But we
Okay.
paid it off. We sold it, and then we wound up being debt free. And we right before I turned 40, which was absolutely amazing. So we started January 1 of 2020, and because I worked so much during COVID, we paid off $285,000 by April of 2022. So completely paid it all
Wow.
off. Yeah,
Wow. Those are
yeah.
crazy numbers.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
I mean that's the good thing about commission is
Yeah.
What you put in is what you get out. So
Okay. How do you feel getting debt free has changed you as even in the real estate business, like how you're talking about, you don't have to work with everyone. You know, if someone has very different values than you can actually choose to not work with them. How do you think, you know, like you look at like pre-debt, after debt-free life, how has it
yeah.
affected you in your business?
Well, I think the only thing that's really changed is that I don't have to work with certain clients, which is great. So I can just walk away. So if I feel icky or if they're just not doing something that's going to be helpful to them, I can walk away. I still am crazy. I'm a go-getter. So I have a lot of financial goals. So I'm still working as much as I can because I love to do it. I like to set goals and I like to hit them. So I work like crazy still. It's just, it hasn't slowed down for me.
That's
Um,
good.
but so and there's kind of like this little, there's like a misconception that once you pay off your debt and then you get your emergency fund, because I have an irregular income. So we have a 6-month emergency fund. So
Uh-huh.
if you have a steady income, 3 months is usually okay. But when you have an irregular income where mine is market based with the interest rates or who's in the White House or inventory or whatever, you want to have a 6-month cushion. So we have a 6-month cushion. But people think that, once you get out of debt and then you have your emergency fund, that you should almost have all this money left over. The problem is that when you were using debt, you were spending more than you actually had to begin with. So even though you freed up all of those payments, you really don't have this giant flood of money because you were spending way more than you should have been anyways. Plus, you're putting money away for college if it's applicable. You're also saving 15% of your household income into retirement. You're
Hmm.
doing responsible things like doing life insurance, which you should have on both your spouses if you are married and stuff. So you're doing responsible things and you're actually watching your money, making better money decisions. So you really don't have that um, unwavering freedom that you think you
Yeah,
should have.
I know what you mean.
You don't have it coming out your ears. And I
Yes,
think,
it's a
yeah, and
little
I think people,
anticlimactic. Yes.
yeah, and I think people are supposed to feel different. And I know that I thought I was going to feel different. And I don't have that burden.
Yeah.
But it's not that I don't think about money anymore because I think about money all the time because I'm careful about it and I'm wondering, okay, am I making the right decision? Am I putting enough away? Am I making enough? And I'm still constantly thinking about it. And we make a good income. Unfortunately, it doesn't go very far in New York, but we're doing the best we can. But but we still constantly think about it.
Yeah.
And there's no magical number I don't think that you can get to that you don't think about money
I
anymore.
agree. I
There's
agree.
no magical number. And even if you are a multimillionaire, you still have to make sure that you retain that money and that make sure that people aren't stealing that money from you and all that other stuff. So I think you're still thinking about money at some point in time. And there's no time where you're just not thinking about it.
Yes. Yes. I think the irony is the more you make and the more you start actually doing all this stuff, you become more conscious of your money.
Yeah.
But you're more intentional. And
Yeah.
before, I definitely remember when I didn't make very much money, I didn't really have to worry about managing it because I didn't have very much to manage.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, there weren't a lot of choices.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the
and
the
then
line
I,
of the line items in your budget was very small,
yeah,
but you
yeah, but you
had to
made a
stretch
great
them a lot
point.
farther.
Yeah, I never thought about that. When you're spending out of control before, you're probably spending way more and it feels a little more tamped down. But now you have this habits and the discipline and you're aware of what you're spending and you have a plan for your money. And it's freeing, but it's also like there's more guardrails, right? And
Yeah, because you have to behave, you have to, live within a certain boundary, and it's hard to be an adult. You can't just, children do what feel good, and adults devise a plan and stick to it. So it's one of those things, and it's like it's hard to adult. We can't just go
yeah,
out and do whatever we want to do because that's how we ended up in debt the first time. So, and
yeah.
not saying those two letters, N-O, and we have to learn to say N-O sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so back to, I know you're very inspired by Ken Coleman and his content and the stuff he says. What do you think is the best piece of advice, or either from a book or something he said that
Mm.
really inspired you?
Oh, geez, if I can't just pick just one thing, my biggest thing is you have to know. Not knowing is not an excuse. And there are so many tools out there. Obviously, Ramsey puts out so much free content, but there are also products out there that you obviously can purchase. But the Get Clear Career Assessment is by far the biggest thing that I think that everyone should do, even if you feel completely fulfilled in your career. I used to follow obviously Ramsey. Dave Ramsey was my guy because I was in debt. He was so applicable. He was so important to me that I almost dismissed Ken Coleman because I was very fulfilled in my career. I loved doing what I was doing. I was happy until I heard him speak one time at a smart conference, and he spoke to me personally, and it touched my soul. Him and his wife had struggled through some infertility issues, and that hits home to me because my husband and I did the same thing, and luckily we do have a daughter who's 15, so we made it through it. But I started listening to him some more, and he's so the way he talks about career and passion that everyone thinks that they're stuck,
Hmm.
or in order to do meaningful work you have to be in a nonprofit or make nothing in your life and just be poor and
Yeah.
be noble and stuff like that, and that's not the case. But you also cannot go through life not putting your talents and passions to work, and you really have to find out and take a deep dive and really see exactly to make sure that you're fulfilling your purpose in life. And when you take the Get Clear Career Assessment, he takes a deep dive and really touches on your top three talents, your top three passions, and what your mission is, and puts them all together and gives you true purpose. And then with that, he will teach you step by step on how to go from point A to point B so that you can actually get through life. And you might be at the right company, but you might be in the wrong role within the company based on your talents and passions.
Yes.
Or you just might be in the wrong company in the wrong role altogether. But what he does is he takes a deep dive into your passions. So he'll talk about like your top three talents, and then he'll talk about your the next top three, but they're subpar, and then the ones that don't even worry about focusing on because they're okay, but their weaknesses. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to focus on that because it's okay. Not everyone has to be perfect on every single thing. Let other people worry about it. But what he does is he brings it all together and he takes a deep dive in there to bring you truly to what you're meant to do. Because if you have meaningful work, you're going to be successful. You're going to earn your best income potential, and you're going to be happy and fulfilled in life. And it's just going to be wonderful, and it's just going to give you meaning in life. And it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. You're going to have just a fulfilling life in general, and then you're going to be winning at your life with your family, your health. I mean, my health is just gotten so much better. I mean, it's given me purpose. I mean, I've gone through a weight loss journey and I've lost 55 pounds, and I have meaning and purpose in my life. My relationships have improved. Obviously, I've gone through the debt-free journey too. But just everything has gotten just exponentially better because I have a deeper understanding of who I truly am and what drives me. And so that's what I can say is just get the Get Clear Career Assessment. And actually, if someone wanted to head on over to ramseysolutions.com, actually ramseycoach.com/Patti/Bardeen, and we'll put a link in there and sign up for a free coaching session for an hour. I'll actually give you a book. It's called Find the Work You're Wired to Do. And in this book, it's by Ken Coleman. There is a Get Clear Career Assessment where you can take the assessment, and there's a code in here, and this will actually take you through. It's about 45 minutes to go through the book. It'll
Hmm.
actually take you through the assessment, how to take a deep dive into it. What does it actually mean for each section, and how to go through it, and how to actually live your purpose. So if anyone wants to do that, they can sign
Oh,
up, and then
awesome. That is the
yeah,
newest
yeah.
book. I have not read that one yet.
Oh, it's amazing. I have a ton of them. I mean, my shelf, you can't see it here, but it is filled with Ramsey stuff. I've got extra copies because I cannot say enough about these books. I mean, I pass them out all the time. I have another box that I pass out at FPU, Financial Peace University, because I teach that through my church. And I hand those out as little freebies to kind of get that class participation going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You want to tell us
I,
about it? Because it's your first class and it's in person, and I think
yeah, yeah. It's
um,
at my church, and my church hasn't had the FPU class and since I've been there, and I've been there for gosh, 10 years or so.
mhm.
And so we finally got approved, and then we were able to get a class going. There's 7 couples, and yeah, so it's on Thursday nights, and this will be our third class. And it's great. We're just going through. We're talking about things, and no one's cut up their credit cards yet, but I still bring it every time, the scissors, and I just want to cut them up.
Just
And
encourage it every week.
I do every time. And I even played the video clip of Dave with his big giant scissors, and nobody wanted to cut him up. But I did have a woman in the class, and she was canceling a bunch of her credit cards, but she just slowly but surely she was starting to let go of them. So it's baby steps. That's all it is. It's baby steps. If you can just be one step closer to being better than you were the day before, then that's a win. That's all we're asking for, is for you to pay
Yeah,
attention, to think about the choices and the decisions that you make. And as long as they're going to improve, and just think about tomorrow rather than just today and right now.
yeah, short term.
That,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And that's
yeah.
what people don't think about. They think about right now, and they don't think about tomorrow or down the road.
But
So,
yeah, you brought it up. I didn't know if you were going to bring it up in the conversation, but if you want to talk about, I think it's really interesting your health and weight loss journey, and that's amazing numbers. And if you want to talk about what inspired it and what motivates you.
yeah, so I was diagnosed in 2006 with polycystic ovarian syndrome. My husband and I, we were about married for about a year, and it was time to have a baby. And we were getting ready to count the cycle and everything. And then all of a sudden, my body went crazy, and I started gaining weight out of nowhere. And went to the doctor, and finally found out that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I had gained a massive amount of weight out of nowhere for no reason. And it really affected me and destroyed me for, gosh, so many years. And it just became who I was, and I let it take over my life because I had spent so many years, um, as my weight was my identity, my pant size was my identity,
Mhm.
which was my wedding dress was a size 0. That was my identity. I was the tiny, tiny person, and that's who I was. And when I was no longer that person, I let that destroy me. And I struggled for many years, just not actually clinically diagnosed depression, but I was just very just withdrawn, just very sad, very unhappy with myself. And just part of these plans of working on yourself, just getting better, improving your life, making things and taking the steps to get better. And, your whole body, mind, body, and soul, spiritual, all that stuff. We came back, my husband and I, we came back from Money and Marriage last year. And when we came back, I told my husband, I said, by the time I come back next year, which is 2025, October, we're going back to Money and Marriage again, at the end of this month. I
Yeah.
said, I want to be 50 pounds lighter by the time I see Dave Ramsey again, because I have made the decision that I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to be better, because how can I teach people about self-control with their money when I cannot have self-control when it comes to weight loss and the carbohydrates and the sugar that is no longer processing in my body because I'm insulin resistant?
Mhm.
Um, I have to change something. And, just like Dave always says in his famous talk, change, which is my favorite thing. People always say it's not as easy as just change. And I'm like, oh, yes, it is. When you make the decision, and my mind is very strong, but I have to have a because. And my because is my health and my journey down the road, not the today. It's down the road. And I have bigger plans for the future, which we're not going to talk about here today. But I have bigger plans, and you kind of know some of my bigger plans. But I came home and I said, I'm just going to change. And I did not know that my journey was going to be a Ramsey preferred coach, and I was going to meet Dave Ramsey again in August. So I was a few pounds short of that 50 pounds, but technically speaking, it wasn't October yet. So I changed my goal and I said, how about 55 pounds? And I'm 55 pounds. So So we'll see. I maybe a couple more by the time I go to see him, at the end of October, but we'll see. At least I've hit my goal and I'm going to continue the journey. I still would like to lose some more weight and just, I feel much better. I'm moving my body. I'm making better choices. I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
but no one is. But at this point in my life, I have to make these decisions because it's a lot harder to undo. But I said, no longer am I going to let my condition define who I am. I'll never be a zero again, but I'm also not going to be defined by and just say, well, I'm just heavy because this is what I have. And I'm just going to suck it up and be like, well, this is my excuse. And then just eat whatever I want because of this condition either. So I made that decision and here I am. So I've been, got up this morning at 5:30 and went to the gym and did my thing. I've been drinking my water. I have a fake Yeti or a fake Stanley. It's from the Ramsey Solutions. It says live like no one else. I drink multiple of these a day, so I drink a ton of
Okay.
water. So yeah, and I just make better
I
choices
love
and
that. I love that.
yeah,
That's just kind of like the people that feel hopeless and they're in thousands of dollars of debt and they're like, well, what's the point? So I'm just going to
yeah,
spend more money and just keep getting into more debt. But see, kind of like you make
yeah.
decisions every day and it's the small things and it's choices, right?
Yeah, and just like with getting out of debt, I tried everything with the diets. I mean, I've tried every single diet. I did the keto, I did the Atkins, I did the this and the that, and all these extreme things, and nothing ever worked. But it wasn't until I got my mindset right and I decided, and I talked to my doctor, and I said, "What do I have to do?" And he said, "All you have to do is move your body consistently, have a calorie deficit consistently, and just drink a lot of water, limit your carbs and sugars. But mainly that calorie deficit is what's going to do it. And so we set up a calorie budget, just like with finances, get yourself on a budget
Yeah.
and just stick to it. And that's what I've been doing. So, and yeah, and I haven't had to take any medication. I'm not diabetic. I'm not, I don't take the fancy Ozempic stuff that everyone's been taking. I don't like needles anyways for medicines, but yeah, I mean, I just keep plugging away and I've had some plateaus and everything, but it happens and I'm not getting discouraged. I'm not giving up and saying, well, I guess I'll go eat a pizza, because I've stayed at the same weight for 3 weeks. I take it as a win. We went away to Tennessee for a week for Easter break. I came back. I didn't gain anything. I didn't lose anything either, but I
Oh,
didn't gain anything. And I had Easter candy in an Easter basket, a lot of black jelly beans, and I didn't gain anything. So that was a win. So yeah, because every time you go on vacation, you come back a couple pounds heavier.
yeah.
Nope, that was a huge win for me. So
Oh,
yeah, so I
celebrating.
just celebrate those and I just keep moving forward and I don't beat myself up anymore. And I just continue moving forward. And that's what you have to do. And you have to be positive and you can't just sit in the negativity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
it
love
sounds like
that.
gobbledygook, and it sounds
No,
like
it's
all
very
that,
inspiring. It's the simple stuff, and it's the
Yeah.
same like how we talk about people need to live on less than they make, which
Hmm.
sounds very pithy, but it's really,
Yeah.
really true, right?
Yeah.
Budgeting does. It's not all these complicated, like, where people do multiple bank accounts and they do percentages and they have things they charge on different cards. It's like, no, it could be so simple. Just
Yeah.
you have a
And
budget.
just like with your finances, if you cheat and you hide purchases from your spouse or you hide bank accounts from your spouse, you're not going to be honest with your diet either. You're going to be cheating and sneaking that cupcake and
Yeah.
going off. And, it's the same thing. You have to be honest and you have to just, take what it is and take the wins and know that you're not going to be perfect. You're going to have slip ups and you're going to accidentally go buy something on Amazon just because you felt like it or spend a few extra dollars in your fun money that you didn't budget for. But you just understand that that's what you did and you move on from that. And maybe you sacrifice or you work a couple extra hours over just to replenish that or something. But
Yeah.
it's the money is just the foundation to everything else in your entire life. And that's why it's so important to take Financial Peace University because, especially if you're a couple, if you're getting married, or even if you've been married for 20 plus years, like my husband and I, we're going to be married for 19 years on October 22nd. And this is his first time through FPU. He's never taken it. And
Oh,
he's taking
wow.
it now because he's co-teaching it with me. So this is his first time watching those videos. So he's
Oh,
learning all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I've already taken this. Okay, fine, because I took it. Because I wanted all that information. I wanted every last bit of information possible. I'd like to gather information. But it's that foundational piece. You have to learn that foundation and then you build upon it and then it spreads out into all areas of your life. If you can learn that foundational piece, it applies to everything in your life. It applies to the career, it applies to your weight, it applies to your relationships, it applies everywhere. It's the same foundation.
yeah, yeah. I think about how discipline begets discipline. And when people
Mhm.
start getting their money together, other parts of their life start coming to the career, the income piece, the family relationships, the health. That's amazing. Did you
Yeah.
see how it's kind of, made you rethink your career and move into financial coaching and I'll go on this health fitness journey and all that? That's amazing. So what type of clients do you like to work with the most?
Um, Well, it really doesn't matter. I don't have one specific person that I like to help. I do excel in the people that come to me and that are just so confused. I do like that. Like on my RPC website, I do like to untangle the wires because I like when people come to me completely confused and frustrated and feeling defeated because they're just so confused with all of just life's big mess. I do like that.
Okay.
But I don't mind if people aren't in debt, and they're just looking for the retirement aspect, or if they're just if they just want to, have better communication or something like that. There's no one specific person or one specific group or age group or anything like that that I particularly like to help. I
Mhm.
just want to help people. Eventually I would love to get into more of a teaching aspect of the families. I really have, my heart really goes to growing that family bond and keeping the family unit together. So I talked about the financial piece, how money is the foundation to everything. My heart really speaks to the middle school age, and how difficult middle school is. It's just such a rough time for everybody, parents, kids, everything, teachers, God bless them. But if you can, if I want to kind of create a little bit of curriculum that kind of encompasses Financial Peace University for adults, the Financial Peace Junior, and a little bit of the high school, like the middle school foundations, and also the Dr. John Deloney Questions for Humans cards, kind of encompass all of that to get parents and kids talking. Because if you can build that open dialogue and build that relationship between parent and child, and you start on that money piece and you just start talking about that money, it'll get the parents hopefully on the road to financial freedom and hopefully get them in order so that they can have that financial peace. B, it'll prevent the child from having a mess. And C, once they get to high school, their problems are going to get bigger. And part of a child not coming to their parent to talk to them is the unknown. They don't know how their parent is going to react. They don't know which parent to go to
Yeah.
talk to about something. But if they already have a foundation of talking to them about basic things. So let's say they have a friend who's having a problem with like drugs or something and they want to talk to their parent. Well, let's say their dad knows a little bit more about that. They feel that their dad is a little bit easier to talk to about that. They might approach their dad and talk to them about that because they already have that foundation with them. So there's already that expectation. It's a little bit easier to talk to them about that. So it keeps the lines of communication open and it keeps that bond going. So I think it's so important because once you get to high school, the problems get bigger
Mhm.
and the divide gets bigger because then the kids
That's
get
true.
worried. They shut in because the unknown is scary. So when kids are scared, they retreat and they're not going to talk to their parents, whether it's their problem or a problem with a friend or something like that. They're afraid their parents are going to freak out and say, well, you can't hang out with so and so anymore because they're doing drugs or something. And they're just going to leave it alone or something, you know? And I think if you can start there and you can build that bond and keep that line open, even if it's a funny, silly conversation,
Mhm.
you can kind of get an idea of what their style is of communication. And then it keeps that bond going, it keeps them talking. And that's the best thing that you can do is keep the kids talking, keep the parents talking, keep them engaged, let them know that you care. And I think that'll just
Yeah.
build and keep going throughout their life and keep that bond of the family going. And to me, that's where my heart is leading me towards in the future. But as we sit here right now, I'm really open just to helping anybody.
Oh, that is a really good. I've never heard that quite from anybody, that
Mhm.
angle about, family and kids in the middle school years. It's funny, I thought you were going to say first-time home buyers. They're
No,
dealing with houses or real estate.
no. I mean, it's one of those funny things where, everyone's like, you hear the news media and they're like, oh, owning a home is a right. You know, living in a home, I think, is a right. You should have a roof over your head. You shouldn't be living on the street, whether it's your own home or something, you should not be on the street. But owning a home is a privilege and it's something that you have to work for and you have to do it responsibly. But not everyone should own a home. It
Oh,
just doesn't make sense.
interesting. Interesting you have that perspective because you do live in
Yeah.
kind of a higher cost of living area. So what would you say to someone that's younger that says just it's impossible for me to ever buy a house, or especially if I live in like New York or California?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's impossible. Let me look at your budget. Let's take a look at things, and we'll take a look at the budget. We'll see what's going on with your budget. Is it a debt problem? Is it an allocation problem because you spend your money on what you care about? Do you have too many subscriptions? Do you have too many things that you're spending too much money on? Is it a debt problem or is it an income problem or is it an expectation problem? Because we
Ooh,
also do have an
I
expectation
like
problem where,
that.
I mean, look at these college campuses. These dorms are better than probably yours and I's first house, and they're coming out of college thinking that they should be buying houses that look better than our parents' house. And our parents scraped and scrimped and built up to that, or they should look like HGTV. And
Yeah.
that's not realistic. And they have to bring it down to reality and they have to build up from there. And maybe you can't buy a house with 5 acres at first, but maybe you can buy a 2 bedroom, 1 bath house on a little corner lot that you can build up equity, put a little paint, some little bit of sweat equity,
Mhm.
rip up the carpet, refinish the floors, do a little bit of that, stay there for a while, and then build up. And then when you have a child, oh my gosh, we're squished. There's just too much. Oh, baby's this big. They're okay. And that's the thing is that so many kids have so much drama in their lives that
Yeah.
they rush and then they just think all this stuff. I mean, my dad grew up with, 10 people in the house and a giant Great Dane. And the house was 1,100 square feet, I think. One bathroom.
Wow.
And they all grew up in that little Cape Cod and they survived just fine.
Wow.
Now that's kind of extreme, but
Yeah.
still,
Okay, but that does put it in perspective that you can do
yeah,
just fine. But I love that the expectation problem. So what do
yeah.
you see for the future of your coaching practice?
Um, I'm just getting started. So, I belong to two coaching groups right now. One's a ladies group and one's kind of a middle of the road kind of group where there's some coaches that are just starting out and then some that have been coaching for a while. The ladies group, we're all starting out. But the other group challenged me to turn on my leads. So I've got a bunch of leads coming in. So I have two clients right now. So, and I've had two consultations and one I already had, they just came to me. So I didn't have to do a consultation. So that was really easy peasy. Didn't have to do any work for that one. But the other, I had two leads for one consultation where they weren't quite ready for the coaching part.
Hmm.
I'm very good at reading people, so I didn't push. And we're going to follow up in December because she had money in savings and I'm challenging her to do the budget. And then she's going to take that savings and throw it all over credit card debt. And then she's got some home equity and home improvement loans. So we're going to follow up in December. So we're cultivating that relationship. And then the other one, it was a great thing. He just needs the budget and signed on right away. So, and then one I had a consultation rescheduled because she got sick. So, but I mean, I plan on, just like with selling real estate, I don't want to take on too many because I want to be able to serve my clients well because I still do work full time as
Yeah.
an appraiser. That takes up, the most of my day. And then of course I have my family. So I have my calendar specifically laid out for coaching clients. So if anyone wants to schedule, they can just go in and select their times. Those are open and available. So I'm open to taking on, half a dozen, maybe a little bit more coaching clients, and really cultivating those relationships and actually changing lives. So maybe down the line, I take on more depending on how involved these clients get. But I would really just want to help people. That's all I want to do. So,
That's so
you
much
know,
progress compared to enrichment. That was only a couple of months ago. So
yeah,
good
well,
for
enrichment
you.
was one of those things where it was kind of, it's like I knew everything that I needed to know. I just wanted to make sure that I knew what I needed to know when I went to enrichment. And
Yeah.
then I kind of came home and I was on fire and I was ready to go. Of course, I came home sick. Being with that many people and everyone's talking, you tend to
Yeah.
spread the germs. So it kind of set me back a little bit, but I was able to also accomplish a bunch of stuff by setting my goals, getting things organized so that when I got better, I jumped right into it, and started setting up a bunch of meetings and doing a bunch of stuff. So, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm going back to enrichment again next year. I hope you are too.
I
Um,
am. Did you already buy your ticket? Oh my gosh.
I bought it when I was there. As soon as they put it up on the
Oh,
screen,
really?
I texted my husband and I said, "Babe, I need to get this. This is where I have to be." And he says, "Absolutely, go right ahead." And I went, "Boop!" Again, the beauty of being debt free and having savings and money, and you
Okay.
can just go
I'll
ahead
definitely
and,
be
and
there.
purchase it
We'll
right then
see
and
each other
there.
again. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? Where's all the places you're at?
Well, I'm kind of incognito because I'm not a big social media person. So really the only social media I have is LinkedIn. And I have so it's Patricia Bardeen, but Patti, Patti in parentheses. I'm special. I have an I instead of a Y. And then also you can schedule a coaching session with me through the Ramsey website because I'm a Ramsey preferred coach. And that's ramseycoach.com/Patti, Patti dash Bardeen. And then that's where you can learn a little bit about me and then also schedule a consultation, or I can, teach you how to budget. I can do group coaching sessions. There's a bunch of different packages and plans that I offer. And I can, even come to work and, teach a bunch of people at work, things like that. It can be in person or Zoom or phone calls or whatever. I'm pretty flexible because I'm all over the place all the time anyhow for real estate. So I'm willing to travel within reason, of course. So, but yeah, I just want to help people. And if I can reach as the best I can, then that's why I'm trying to put as many options out there as possible.
Okay, okay, yeah. I love how we're both on LinkedIn and putting ourselves out there. I think it's a really fun platform, and I look forward to seeing you being more active on there. And yeah, and I think this wraps up our time. We went a little over, but it was just such an interesting conversation, and we started a tiny bit late. Yeah, and any last words that you have?
Nope, I think so. My screen is kind of frozen, so I hope that that worked. Um, I tried to put it in the comment section, my link to, oh, yep, it looks like it worked. I put a link to my ramseycoach.com, Patti Bardeen in the comments. So then obviously in the comment section, that's where you can find me on LinkedIn as well. And so if you wanted to schedule a coaching session with me, there's a free hour coaching session. And like I said, if you did schedule a free coaching session, obviously I will give you this beautiful book here, and I cannot recommend it enough. And there is a code in here to get your get clear career assessment, which you take first, and then you go through the
That's
book,
a
and
good
it'll help
value.
you. Yeah, I mean it's
Because I don't know
absolutely
how much the
amazing.
book is now, and then the assessment I think is like 30 bucks, and then the book by itself I'm sure is like 20 something. So
Yeah, I think the whole package on RamseySolutions.com, I think it's like 34.99. But anytime I see something on LinkedIn and someone's talking about careers or leadership or something, and I always post that link just to go there and just take the book, just buy the book and go through the assessment. I wish that they would pair, these two books together. because really, I mean, this one too, I mean, he also wrote the proximity principle, which
Yes.
he wrote before this book, which teaches you to get in proximity of people who are doing what you want to do instead of, it's kind of like it's who you know type of thing of how to do, like, get
Yeah, I
into
think
doing
everyone
the
on
job and
LinkedIn
stuff
should
like
read
that.
it. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
but
got
I
your
read this
network.
one first and it teaches a lot. It touches a lot on the proximity principle. So I read this one first and then I went back and read the proximity principle, which again taught a lot about that. But I just love this one so much more. And he actually signed it for me too. Oh, it's
Oh,
not there. Hold on. There
oh,
it is.
nice,
Yes,
nice.
yes.
Yeah, I want
So
to
he's
reread the
absolutely amazing.
proximity principle and think about it more from the perspective of business instead
Yeah.
of just like, instead of just the job networking, which I know
Mhm.
is more his niche and target audience. But if you think of it more as like, oh, in business, you also have to network and create these connections. So I want to reread it with that, but I have that book too. I just don't have the newest one. But that's a really good deal for anyone, to get a free book assessment and you get an hour of coaching with Patty. So I think we'll wrap it up. And thank you so much. This was so much fun. My
Yeah,
first
thank you so much for having me.
conversation.
I hope to do this again. This was fun, and maybe we'll talk about a different topic next time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But thank you so much for joining. Thanks to everyone that's listening. And yeah, see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.